Welcome back to Rotten and Forgotten. As you can see, winter's finally showed its face up here in the Northland, and it's come with vengeance. It's currently -8 degrees with a -25-degree wind chill, and we are in the first blizzard warning of the year, which is pretty neat. But we got 4 Elans sitting here that haven't been started since last summer, and they need to get running. We need to get these things ready to hit the snowy trails, because I think the snow is going to stick around. We got approximately 6/8 of an inch out there, and it looks like fresh powder. The ground's frozen underneath, so that's great too, but I guess all that's left to do is to get these sleds running. And I think we're going to start with Craig here, the twin-cylinder 250. Then we're going to jump on to Steve, that's single-cylinder 250. General Elan, single-cylinder 250, and then the finale, the old Rhino. That's a 335 single-cylinder, but hopefully they all fire up real good, because I want to get back inside. It's cold out, but we'll see how it goes. I got a little bit of juice in my bottle too. This is just 2-stroke mix. I'm going to put her right in the carburetor and try to get her to fire up. So, okay, let's get started here. Woo-hoo-hoo. It is cold. My fingers are cold. Any mouse nests in old Craig here? Doesn't really look like it. Is there any gas in them? Maybe. Let's try to get this plastic off. Oh, brittle. Ignition on. Kill switch off. A couple squirts of the good stuff, and oh. Recoil's being bad. That's great. Okay, well, apparently we're not going to start. Imagine that. I think that's awesome. Whoa. Come on now. Woo, it's cold out. She's running off the bottle, that's great, but she ain't quite running on her own, I guess. So there's that. Let's jump on to Steve here. Maybe this one will fire off. A lot of time with these Tilson carburetors, those ball valves will get stuck and you get symptoms like that. It could just not be primed up too. So we'll work on that in a second. I want to get Steve out of the way here. Pretty confident he'll fire up. It's been a pretty good little machine. Full choke. Key on. Oh yeah, we're still full. Oh. Come on. Who chose to start these at -8? That was just silly. Woo. Okay. Yep. Maybe the third time's a charm. Let's try the General. Oh, that's nifty. The recoil didn't recoil back. That's not good. That's not good at all. Oh, we got her back. That's good. Couple more snuffs. Ooh. Got some right in the nose. Ooh, she backfired a little bit on me. Still not sucking any gas, so that's great. That's common especially when it's -8 and you haven't ran them all year. This is a horrible decision. I don't know why I decided to do this today. Really not looking good for the Elans at the moment. That went as good as can be expected. It's -8 degrees outside, and hindsight, a guy should have did this about 2 weeks ago when it was 35 degrees. I probably would have had a lot better success out in the shed, but I got cold and I failed, basically. But anyways, these machines are in here now. The Honda foreman got them in, so that's good. We'll let them warm up and we'll start purging lines. I'm pretty sure those carburetors are sitting dry at the moment. We have no gas into the pancake pump and the carburetor's not carbureting basically, but I think we got spark on all the machines. I guess we didn't check the Rhino out, but it had spark in the spring, so it should still have it now. But we'll get the gas purged of the carburetors and we're gonna drive every single one of these sleds out the door before this episode ends, maybe. But while they're in here, we can also check the chain cases and make sure there's oil in them and kind of look them over and make sure they're ready for another year of use and abuse. So buckle up. I don't know where this episode's going, but we're going to have some fun. 7:22 p.m. I got a fresh cup of coffee and the sleds have warmed up. So we're going to start wrenching on them one by one until we get them all in operating condition for the year. So starting off here, I'm going to purge the fuel lines. The way I'm going to do that is unscrew the little fuel filter underneath the Tilson HR carburetor, and I'm going to blow in that tank and get fuel up to the carburetor and then tighten it up so it locks it in there. It doesn't go too bad. You can use an air end too, but I like just using the CPR method. It makes me feel one with the sled, and I'm lazy. I don't want to go grab the ear chuck. It's too far away, obviously. So yeah, here we go. The old Elan. General Elan, actually. Ooh. The fuel line was full of air, kind of as I expected. I know I got fuel up to that filter now, so I can pull the cover off the snow cap and squirt some gas right into there and try to bottle feed it until it picks up on its own. These Tilsons have a ball valve inside of them, and a lot of times they like to stick. A guy can tap on the carburetor a little bit with a hammer. Sometimes that loosens them up, but a lot of times they just get stuck. Or, you know, if there's no fuel up to them, the carburetor's not going to carburate either. But we'll try it with the bottle a little bit, see if we can't get it to take off. If not, we'll just pull this carburetor apart. It's not really that big of a deal. So yeah, let's do it. Got the trapper box opened up. Couple squirts. I think it is starting to suck fuel on its own. It's coming out of the return line, so that's a good sign. Couple more squirts in there. Well, we're one sled up, 3 left to go. The General Elan still runs. We're going to jump over to this side and check the chain case out, make sure there's still oil in there, look for leaks lightly. I don't want to look too closely because I really don't want to fix it. And after that, we're going to check out the bogey wheels and grease them up and get this thing ready to rock and roll. My tool of choice for checking the chain case is an extra long zip tie and a flathead screwdriver. I always peel this top cover off first, and then I use the zip tie to check the fluid level. I really don't like pulling that bottom one off just because if you're a little high on your fluid, you spill oil everywhere, and it's kind of a bugger to get back in, especially when they get old and hard and stiff and they just don't work like they're supposed to. So you can do the same thing as taking off the bottom one with this long zip tie. You just go over to the side, make sure you're hitting the bottom there and make sure there's oil in there. This one's got a lot of it and it looks pretty darn good. So that's great. That checks off the list. The motor runs, we got oil in the chain case. Let's lift up the back and start greasing. Every bogey wheel's got a grease zerk on it, and there's 2 grease zerks up on the front for the steering shafts, and that's about it, if I remember right. Does the brake work? Looks like our brake sort of works, so we'll call that good too. Now this definitely ain't the low temperature grease you're supposed to be using, but any grease is better than no grease, in my opinion, so that's what I'm going to be running. The only thing the General needs now is a new set of vents. This is one of my first prototype Elan vents, and it worked. It got the job done. But I got a new set here, and they're a little better. I'm still working on getting these things dialed. I haven't messed with it since last winter, of course, but I'm going to give these ones a good old rattle can job, get them to that jet black, and we'll get them zip tied into place here shortly. If you're interested how I made these, they're 3D printed. Went on Tinkercad and designed them up quick, but maybe we'll do a video about that shortly. It'll be kind of fun. This here is a 1971 Skidoo Elan 250 as well. Its name is Steve, and it's a 250 single, just like the General. But same thing here, we're gonna give the lines a good prime job, and we'll see if we can't get her to fire up. One thing to note when you're working on these plastic filters is they're really cheesy. You'll strip them out if you try turning too hard, so be really gentle. I mean, just barely tighten them. And even then, you'll probably break them, and you'll have to buy a couple spares, and they're just junk nowadays, but... Ooh. Gas came out really quick on that one, so that's good, I guess. Throttle's free. Let's give her a pull. Oh! I was moving the camera and I lost her. She's running on her own or trying to. Maybe a little more of a squirt job. Woo! She ain't so happy. Oh, come on, Steve. Okay, that's cool. Oh. So for my diagnosis there, we had some fuel in the line. It coughed and sputtered a little bit. It was running on its own, and we ran out of fuel in that line again. So I'm going to use some compressed air now and try to get that line to purge. For some reason, I can't get it with my air, so hopefully this will work. You want to be careful when using compressed air so you don't break anything or blow your tank, but we're not getting nothing out of this bowl. That should be oozing gas out like crazy. Uh-oh. What do we got going on? Did we lose our drop down? No way. Steve's got the original tank in him yet, so the threads are stripped out on this thing and it cracked, so it's kind of rigged not very well. But it has been working, so I mean, that's all that really matters. Yeah, this line's empty. That's because that's my return line, ain't it? Well, that's a little bit of an issue. There we go. Well, this is supposed to be our pickup line here. as you can tell. It's quite the weight job I did on there. It's pretty nice, but it appears this line isn't qualified to be submersed in gas, and it's all swelled up and it's junk, basically. This here is pretty interesting. That thing's only been in there for about 1.5 years, and it's swelled up considerably. It's supposed to be a 1/4-inch line, and we're gonna replace it with this braided fuel line. I think this stuff is actually submersible, but yeah, keep an eye on your fuel lines, I guess. That's kind of crazy. Now, I wouldn't personally recommend doing what I'm about to do here, but I am going to use my original return line that's inflated and throw that on here, because return lines aren't too important. It's just letting the gas go back. You want to make sure you do have some sort of line on there, just so then the gas ain't bubbling and then you're sucking up the bubbles in your main line. Seen that happen before. It's kind of a pain in the butt when it starts doing that, and it'll throw you for a loop. But one other thing to watch out for is to make sure your return line isn't the same length as your pickup line. Otherwise, you'll get those air bubbles in there, and it can really throw you for a loop when you're trying to tune your carburetor. There. I can't seem to locate my fuel clamps, so right now we're just snug fit on the pickup line. I definitely need to fix that before I start hitting the trails for the season, but we're going to tighten this up and try to bleed the line and see if we have a little better success. I'm assuming we will, because there's actually a pickup line in the tank, which is pretty important. Okay, let's try to get this carburetor bled. What in the world? I'm still not getting any gas in there. Oh, is she sticking out? No way. Kind of looks like it. That's got to come back out. Our line's doing the old float, so we got to put our specialty nuts back on, apparently. Definitely not recommended, but you do you. Whatever makes your machine tick, I mean, that's all that really matters at the end of the day. They seemed to work last time, so throw them back on and call her good. It's always kind of fun getting back in the shop and wrenching on snowmobiles. All those hard lessons learned are coming back, and yeah, history repeats itself, as they say, because I've definitely been down this route before, as you can tell. But we should be good now. We'll get this baby connected. Round 3. Are we going to get gas to the carburetor? I think we will. There we go. That's what I want to hear. Get the good old hand soaked with that 2-stroke gas mixture. And this thing's going to fire right up. I would think. Maybe. If we're lucky. Full choke. Yep. Make sure the throttle's free. Turn the key on. There we go, another 250 Elan, back to running, so that's great. We'll check the chain case on this one too, make sure there's oil in it and grease the bogies, and yep, we're just gonna keep going down the line, and yeah, you know it. Just keep going down the line. Same process, I'm gonna pull off this top chain case cover and use my specialty zip tie. This rubber's a little solider, definitely in worse condition. Sometimes these things get to be like a rock and you can't even bend them, but that one came out pretty darn good. There we go. And we still got oil in there, so that's good. Probably could use a splash more in there, so I'll go grab the jug and give her a couple pumps. I'm just running 80-90 in these, nothing too crazy or special. It's oil, it does the job. This one's got the same zerks in the same places. The back drive shaft on this one actually has zerks too, so give that one a couple shots. It's 8:30, we're 50% there, about an hour in. Yep, things are going good. Next up here is the Rhino. It looks like we lost our choke lever somewhere on this machine, so I got another one for it. That should work. We're gonna check our pickup line right away, make sure there's 2 lines going down into the fuel, which there is, so that's great. We're gonna purge this one just like the last 2 and see if we can't get some fuel to come out. There we go. There was no fuel in the line again. We'll give her the full choke, and I'm not even gonna spray it, if you can believe that. This Elan is a 1971 as well, at least the chassis is. The engine is a 335 out of a 1974 Olympic, so it's got a little more horsepower. This is a super fun sled. I built it last year. The videos are on the channel. You can go check them out. I'll link them right there. And yeah, what a fun sled. Absolute hoot and a half. See if we can't get her to fire up. I think that's on. That should be off. Ooh. Maybe we do need a spritz. I can't give up that easy. Ooh. Yeah, I'm giving her a spritz. I'm quitting. Ooh. Looks like this one's trying to come off, so duct taped. Nice. Snow cap removed. Little bit of fuel in there. Ooh, ooh, ooh. This recoil is junk. Pretty much all the recoils are not doing the greatest, especially this one. The little pawls in there go to junk and the little slats get worn out, and you know, it's 1971 or 4, I should say. It's been a little while. Come on now. She's angry. Oh. Ouch. Sorry. This gets actually people after a while. Okay, sure. I'm not going to We're already. Jeez, we're over there. Let me just put that out. How's that one going? Ha, not very well. Whew. The Elan workout continues. One of the biggest problems with the snow snorkel on there is you can't get your squirter all the way up to the face of that carburetor. So you're losing a lot of the mist you're shooting in there. And, you know, it's just a bigger motor in this machine, and it takes a little bit of oomph to pull it over, and that recoil snapping isn't very fun either. Oh, you sow. Come on now, you're getting close. More juice. We're not getting any fuel in the carburetor. Or all stuff. More juice. Got gas leaking everywhere. Oh. This isn't very fun. This recoil sucks. I think the worst part about this 335 engine is there's a plate for an electric start. It just doesn't have the starter. If you had electric start on one of these things, it would be just money. But yeah, I don't have that. I got the good old Armstrong start, and it's kicking my butt at the moment, to tell you the honest truth. Sometimes these Tillies can be rather frustrating. As long as it gets primed up, though, it should run, unless that ball valve's stuck, which is very possible. This close to ripping this carburetor off and going through it, but I think one more good pull, and if it just doesn't want to cooperate, we're gonna do surgery. So, yeah. Okay, well, it runs, the carburetor's carbureting, so that's good. Definitely needs to get that old fuel ran through there. A couple laps around the yard should really help this machine out. We were getting real close to ripping that Tilly off there, but it finally decided to start cooperating. A little bit of bottle feeding, and it just came back around. The biggest thing that's going to help all these machines in the long run is getting them outside, getting them outdoors, and start running some fuel through them, getting all those diaphragms relubricated, and getting the engines moving, the biggest thing. But yeah, 3 sleds running, 1 left to go. But first, we're going to check the chain case on this one too, and grease the bogies. And yeah, it's a pretty repetitive episode, I guess, but that's maintenance. That's the life of a Elan connoisseur, I guess. Ooh, that one's in good shape too. This Elan's got the Olympic chain case on there, so it's a double chain on I think it's a 13 sprocket, and I don't remember what the bottom is, but once again, I'm going to use my trusty zip tie, and I'm following the back side of the chain all the way down to the bottom there. This one's got some tensioners in the way, so I might have to jump around a little bit, but there we're at the bottom. Lift her out, and yeah, we still got oil, about 1.5 inches in the bottom, so should be plenty on this machine. So this 335's got Olympic bogies on it, so that's great. So the Rhino's buttoned up, ready to go outside and play, I suppose. We got 1 Elan left, the twin cylinder 250. Let's get after it and get that one running too, and we're going to be sitting darn good. So we're going to do the same thing here with the twin cylinder 250. Loosen up the filter, get in the gas tank, make sure the fuel lines are still in there. Yep, cool. There we go. Gas up to the filter. Get that back on there. Okay. Full choke, key on. Ooh. She's singing on 2 cylinders, so that's always great. The one thing that always scares me about the twin cylinder 250s is you got another cylinder to worry about. With the single cylinders, when you lose that cylinder, you're done, and you know where you got to fix it. Twin cylinders, it's just another set of headaches, but there's just something about a rhythmic twin that the single cylinders just don't quite have. But there's also something about a single cylinder rattling between your legs that really makes you feel like you're living life to the fullest. But anyways, let's see if we can't get this thing to fire up again. Okay, we're starting to get a little bit of fuel in the secondary line or the return line, so that means it's starting to carburate. Okay, she's starting to suck a little bit of fuel, but I think that ball valve's just sticking a little bit. So I'm gonna throw her up on the stand, give her a little bit of juice, try to get a little more rattling going on. I think one of the things that really help the single cylinders is that those motors are so vibration filled that it rattles that ball valve loose on the Tilsons. But I'm gonna, you know, just keep bottle feeding her and get that track spinning and try to get some more suction going on in the bottom of that carburetor. And we'll see if we can't get it to come around. It's not sounding too bad. I'm about 95% sure there's oil in the chain case too, and we're not gonna run it that long, so I'm not too worried about seizing that up. But let's give her a little spritz and get her spinning. There's nothing like two-stroke smoke that gets a guy into the snowmobiling spirit. And you know, it took quite a few spritzes, but this 250 twin came back around too. So I'm not very good at math, but that's 4 Elans running. That's 100% on the Elan mission. So that's pretty neat. I mean, they're all running in the spring when I put them away, so I guess I shouldn't really be surprised, but a lot of times things break even when they sit. We're going to check the chain case and grease the bearings on this machine too. Good old zip tie. Follow that back chain down. I kind of sound like a broken record this episode, but holy cow, we got oil in that one. She is good to go. Maybe a little bit too much, one could say, but yeah, it'll be fine. One thing a guy always wants to check on these 250 twins is this belt underneath this fan shroud. This belt's got to be in good condition, because if you lose that fan, you're going to burn up a cylinder. And you don't even realize that you lost the fan until your snowmobile quits running right, and you're just in a bad pickle. So it's pretty important to make sure to check out that belt, make sure it's in good condition and it's not all cracked up, and that the fan spins freely, which this one does. So we are good to go on that, at least. I can't believe this thing ain't run out yet. Normally you look at a grease gun and the tube runs out of grease. This sled's all original, 1973. It's a heck of a unit. I really, really like this sled. The hood was in mint condition too, and then we broke it last winter, but that happens. That's all greased up. Well, it's 9:15, so about 2 hours we got 4 Elans running and serviced, and we didn't even need to take apart a Tilson, which is pretty neat. At least we haven't had to take one apart yet. We haven't ran them around, so who knows, maybe we don't have a high idle, or maybe one's gonna bog out. We'll find out in the morning, so I suppose I better go hit the hay and we can get to snowmobile testing. Make a couple laps with all these machines and make sure they're gonna run right. Oh, I can't wait. We'll see you there. Good morning. It's -13 today and the sun's really bright, but we got some powder on the ground. You know, not even quite an inch, but enough for the Elans to tootle around. And I made a phone call last night and got the buddies out, so looks like they're coming here right now. Yeah, that's a pretty nice sled there, huh? Nice helmet. I suppose we better get this show on the road. Ooh. Fire them up, let's go. It's cold out there. I'm kidding you. I'm not kidding you, I should say. It's negative 15 degrees and it's burr. But as you can see, we're at 75%. 3 Elans out of the 4 wanted to play today in negative 15 degrees. So that's still 75%. I'll take it. Looks like I got some more work to do, and we got some more projects coming around too. So stay tuned. Thanks for watching Rotten and Forgotten. I appreciate it. We'll see you later. I'm gonna go drink some coffee because I'm cold. Maybe some hot cocoa. That sounds pretty good too. Ooh, some wrenches.